Many people use psychedelic drugs for creativity, inspiration, and even spiritual reasons. Some people just use psychedelics because they're looking for an escape from reality. Whatever the reason, we have all come into contact with at least one extremely powerful hallucinogen in our lives: DMT. N,N-dimethyltryptamine is very different from traditional psychedelics because, in addition to being found in many commonplace plants throughout the world, it is found in every single human and many animals. In his book DMT, The Spirit Molecule, by Dr. Rick Strassman, he notes that DMT is special for a few reasons. First, no tolerance is built up with repeated use. Next, DMT is produced by our bodies in the pineal gland. And last, it is the only psychedelic drug readily absorbed through the blood-brain barrier. Also interesting is Dr. Strassman's suggestion that the brain releases large amounts of the chemical during extremely stressful or spiritual times in our lives. Dr. Strassman hypothesizes that DMT is released first during conception. Exactly 49 days into fetal development, the pineal gland becomes visible, and at this same time it is first possible to differentiate between a male and a female fetus. He suggests that this marks the entrance of the spirit into the baby's developing body. The next extremely stressful event in life occurs during birth, for both the mother and the child. In addition to other stress hormones being released during this process, DMT may be the source of the so-called psychedelic births reported by many women who have given birth without anesthesia. According to Dr. Strassman, no studies have been done to measure the DMT levels in either the mother or the baby during birth, but many recreational DMT users ironically report a similar feeling of rebirth during their experience. As one progresses through life, other stressors are of course inevitable. Only the most intense moments of stress are actually capable of overriding the body's natural DMT activation systems, though. Throughout the large majority of life, it would obviously be inconvenient to have a psychedelic experience during every moment of stress, so these experiences only occur during two general times. First, mystical religious experiences induced by meditation are believed to be caused by DMT. Many religions that perform meditation teach that it is most effective to concentrate on the third eye, which is located between the eyes, and is also the location of the pineal gland. Second, near-death experiences may also be caused by a large influx of DMT. Many people report seeing visions, dead relatives, or even divine beings while unconscious after a life or death situation, such as a car wreck or nearly drowning. In addition, people who use DMT recreationally sometimes report similar feelings of having died. Likewise, the last moment of extreme stress in a person's life is death. Dr. Strassman concludes that a large amount of DMT is released upon death as, quote, the life force exits the body through the pineal gland. For my personal experience, I decided to pursue the meditation aspect of endogenous DMT production at Better Being Indie Float Center to experience a 90-minute sensory deprivation session. This hot tub-like tank is filled with 900 pounds of Epsom salts to enable the client to float weightlessly in the water, and it is heated to exactly skin temperature to give the feeling that one is floating in black space. When I talked with our server Matthew, who declined to be interviewed for this video, he hypothesized that this feeling of black weightlessness tricks the body into thinking that it is dead, and therefore causes the pineal gland to release a small amount of DMT. So I just got back from Better Being Indie. Anyway, I really enjoyed the experience. It was very relaxing. And then it was, in the way of hallucinations, pretty much what I expected. Very light, more like if you close your eyes and you're getting ready to fall asleep and you see like flashes of light and different dark images. That's kind of what it's like. I did notice some pretty vivid lava lamp type of visions flowing through my vision, and that was pretty cool. The floating sensation was very interesting, but I kept floating around and hitting the walls, so
That was kind of a downside. In addition to the walls, I noticed that it was kind of like your head under the covers. It was getting hard to breathe because that tank closes completely, and there was no air filtration that I noticed, so it was a little hard to breathe near the end. So when I got out, I felt very new, very rested, and I hadn't fallen asleep at all, but I just felt like I was new and rested. I don't know. It was definitely a good experience. I would definitely recommend it, but because it costs so much, it's not something I would do on a regular basis.
As a second personal experience, I had planned to make a salvia divinorum tea where it is legal in Arizona. While the effects are closely likened to those of DMT, it is not endogenous, and it affects completely different receptors than DMT. Of course, safety is of the highest concern, and I had thoroughly researched the psychological and toxicological risks before pursuing this experience. As it turns out, the minimum age for salvia in Arizona is 21 and not 18, as I had read online. On the bright side, though, one employee agreed to participate in a short interview about salvia and other related psychedelics.
So, what do you know about DMT?
I just know what I've seen from the documentary, so just like slight knowledge. I've had a couple friends try it, so I know like I've had a couple like people tell me their experiences on it, but I don't know much about it.
Do you know much about psychedelic drugs?
Well, not extensive knowledge, but
Yeah. So would you, I mean, this is fine if you don't want to, but would you be comfortable sharing any experience you've had?
I've tried LSD and mushrooms. I've also tried salvia, the weakest.
Yeah.
Marijuana. Although that's not really a hallucinogen. And then that's about it.
So which did you find the most interesting?
Salvia was the most interesting, just because it was really a really odd experience, and I really don't have any way to describe the way I felt during it. And then LSD was probably my favorite out of all of them.
So do you know how, like, what salvia divinorum affects? Like,
Very slightly. I don't know much about it. I'm actually like reading a book up on it right now, but yeah.
So a lot of people say it can have similar, only more frightening experiences to DMT. And then, but the interesting thing is it affects completely different receptors. DMT, serotonin receptors, and salvia affects K-opioid receptors. So it sounds bad, but you probably know a lot about it. So it's not like opiate drugs, of course. So how many times have you tried something?
Only once, but only good ones.
Would you do it again? So why have you only done it once?
It was just because I've heard of a lot of bad experiences from my friends where they had like, they started out a trip bad and the whole trip was bad and like they've never done it again because of it. Also just because it's so, like, the different strengths, it's so, like, even the smallest strength was like pretty intense for me, so like I'd be kind of scared to like move up from there, but I'd probably be down to try like even the smallest strength or like the middle strength.
So, what's your opinion on this? Would you think it should be legal for scientists to study the drugs, but still illegal to use them recreationally? Do you think it should be completely illegal, or should it be legal for recreational use?
I think everything should be completely legal, and it should be just up to personal preference or personal, like, education to know if you should do this or not, and like how much you should be doing it.
I think that opinion makes a lot of sense, for the most part. So then would you try DMT in light of the fact that it's illegal?
Yes, I would in line with the fact that it's legal. It's just personally if I want to have that intense paradigm shift or not. I'm just not sure if I want to experience that 15 minutes of just like a lifetime of experiences in 15 minutes. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to handle that.
That makes sense.
But it's definitely something that, like, it's like one of those things that I've always wanted to try and never wanted to try, you know? So it's like polar opposites, but I really would. It's really interesting.
Would you like to say anything else? Or? Well, thank you so much for being here.
It's fascinating to think that DMT is so closely related to our body's natural processes, and that one of the most powerful psychedelic drugs in the world is waiting for the perfect time when it is needed most, present itself. For this reason, DMT is truly more than just a drug.